Prince Charles. Joining me now is Gail Bradbrook, Professor Dr. Gail Bradbrook. She's the co-founder of the environmental group Extinction Rebellion. We have seen the group actually protest this weekend. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I assume you agree with what Prince Charles was saying.
To be honest, I haven't heard specifically this morning what Prince Charles had said,
of course, no,
he is a
my
great
mistake,
environmental champion.
His point was that if we can rally together to defeat a pandemic, invent a vaccine, distribute vaccines, we can do the same thing to save the environment.
Well, let's be honest, we haven't defeated the pandemic yet. A pandemic is an expression of the ecological crisis that we're in. We should expect more pandemics, and we haven't set up the world yet to be able to respond to pandemics. So what's happening is that we're getting new variants, and what COVID-19 is teaching us is that none of us are safe until all of us are safe.
What do you want to see out of this G7? Because nominally, the leaders that are assembled not far from where we are taking environmental issues very seriously.
These G7 countries have been making promises over and over again. And frankly, we are drowning in promises. We've had enough of targets for the future. What we need is action now. For example, these countries have subsidised fossil fuels to the tune of 100 billion annually, and they've just given almost 200 billion in bailouts to some of the most polluting companies. So their words do not meet their actions. We need action now. The science says that tipping points in this crisis are already being breached. The ice caps are melting, for example. The Atlantic meridional oceanal current, which is the jet stream, for example, is changing. So we don't have time for long-term targets. We can't carry on with business as usual.
What would be a good outcome for you this weekend?
The biggest dream I have is that world leaders actually realise that they're embedded in a system that's got failure baked in, that's killing life on Earth. And while there are immediate things we can do within this system, stop subsidising fossil fuels, actually honour the commitments to finance exploited countries to move forwards, what we really need is to understand that economic growth on a finite planet is a form of cancer, and we're going to have to make very big shifts. But humanity can do something really different now. You know, this is a time in which we need to shift in a really different direction where we're not at war with nature anymore. The biggest carbon capture machine in the world is the soil.
But you listen to these world leaders, and this is very different from, say, 10 years ago. Their speeches are laced with what you're saying. They are laced with concern for the environment, with let's rebuild, but as we rebuild, let's do it in a green way. We can do jobs in the environment together. I mean, it's literally 30% of what they talk about in public.
Well, I'm afraid to say my own leader, Boris Johnson, I'm ashamed of him. He's a barefaced liar. He's just said well, first of all, he said that the world needs to level up, and he's just cut our aid budget. He's actually broken UK law. On financing global South countries. He's broken our law and cut the aid budget.
Oh, by cutting the aid budget.
And yet out of his mouth is this idea that we need to level up. He talks a good game around climate and ecological crisis, and he bails out the companies that are creating it. And meanwhile, in our country, there's an infrastructure project, HS2, that is ploughing through nature, and it's destroying 108 woodlands. It's the biggest deforestation of the UK since World War I. So the leaders say one thing and they do another.
And why is there that gap between what they say, what they profess on the one hand, and what they do, according to you, on the other? Are they insincere, or are they incapable of changing directions?
You know, interestingly, there was a report in 2016 called Thinking the Unthinkable. And what it said is that our leaders are not able to think about these major crises in the world. And I think it's part of the political economy that we're running right now that's obsessed with infinite growth and profit making. And it's not like profits are bad, it's just that we have to reduce our consumption levels. We have a finite planet. So one of the things that we're calling for in Extinction Rebellion is a global assembly of ordinary citizens. These leaders are baked into a business as usual mindset. When you put ordinary citizens with experts, they could redesign this system. Humanity needs to rewire itself.
I
right
want to
now.
get this one in. You say business as usual. That's what the leaders are talking about. So what they've been saying is we can have our cake and eat it because we can rebuild our economy and use the green economy and those investments to create jobs. So you have your cake and eat it. Do you agree with that? Is that possible or is that a mirage?
It's important to do a just transition in which we focus on jobs and change in society, reducing consumption and so on. I think when people think that we can carry on having the lifestyles that we have right now, it's not honest. We're going to have to change the way we live. But what we know is that 50% of emissions come from 10% of the population. So the super rich are going to have to change their levels of consumption. We have to tackle the depth of inequality in the world. We have to change the form of the economic system that we're running with.
And those emissions come in no small part from those populations that are represented by those leaders over there. So this is a weekend where we'll see what they say. In word,
we need to see what they do.
We need to see what they do. All right, that's a great way to finish it. Dr. Gail Bradbrook, thank you so much for joining us here this morning. And with that, let me take it back to Michael Holmes for the rest of the world news here on CNN Newsroom.